It is our pleasure to welcome to the Ed Tyll Show on Starcom Radio Network across the country and around the world. Julie Rendelman is a former deputy bureau chief in the Brooklyn Kings County District Attorney's Office. Now, right there, interesting with the rank. What did the bureau chief do different than just someone who's a prosecutor?
Well, there were not a lot of names in our, there were a lot of different positions in the Brooklyn DA's office. I was actually in the Homicide Bureau for 13 years, I guess it was, or 14 years. And so the deputy position just was a title that enabled me to maybe assist some of the younger assistants in the work they did. And it meant more taking on less caseload with just much more difficult cases instead of, and I hate to say the run-of-the-mill, but, cases that involve more than one defendant and involve lengthy investigations.
I myself have a great interest in this and have covered, I've been on the air, believe it or not, it's going to be 40 years next year. So you can just, all the headline stories, the gruesome crimes. But I would love to ask you, not that you could have covered it, but I'm sure when you learned about it, and then in prosecutors' worlds, I wonder if it's still not, you could mention, people recognize the case. Do you remember the case where the girl was screaming in New York and nobody came to help?
Yeah, Kitty Genovese.
That's it. Now, that's today. I mean, seriously, if everybody chased every scream, it could. I mean, we've gone of the full circle, haven't we? We were once upon a time, you could shriek into the city night, nothing, and now today you can't walk 2 feet across Manhattan, the Upper East Side, Broadway, Times Square, Clinton Hill, and you don't. The world has changed. Has the prosecutor's job changed with the world to keep pace with this frenetic, loud, noisy, crime-infested world?
Wow. The one thing I would say is one of the difficulties of being a prosecutor, I think now more than, at least to a degree more than years ago, was that there is this stop snitching mentality. And, people are looked at negatively if they come forward, if they try to do the right thing.
Boy, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you brought this up. So I'm not crazy. That's big. First of all, again, it's in every episode of every cop show. Right now, everybody doesn't want to rat. I'm like, what are you all high-ranking mafia guys, and your girlfriends are going to be? I mean, what is this no ratting thing? So that is.
This is the everyday. You see YouTube videos, you see rap songs. Everything is about not snitching, and this is what young kids are taught, and that does not help the district attorney's office when they're trying to resolve these violent crimes.
Julie, when you were in law school, did you think prosecutor, or did you finish law school, consider it? At what point does it appeal to you?
Ooh, I interned in the Homicide Bureau when I was in my second year, maybe in law school, and that's when I knew. And then I was.
Now, what was it? Do you remember what you got hooked on? Was it the sensational nature of the crime? That these crimes were so outrageous they just glued you to a feeling of doing right by the people involved?
I don't know. I think I always had incredible compassion for, what different people from different walks of life were going through, and I always wanted to kind of make a difference and thought I could. And maybe even in the most subtle ways, you make a difference sometimes, even if it's not about a conviction, even if it's just meeting a witness and talking to them and making them feel like they're not alone. I feel like that kind of was what pulled me through it.
Now, you must be a strong gal. You must be a strong gal to take those gruesome.
So I've heard.
Right? I mean, you're taking a lot of gruesome stuff in, you process it, then you put it through a difficult system. You got a lot of variables, right? There's no certainty the public should know. Even when you look at a good case. You look at a case, go, boy, they really investigated well, no big mistakes, nothing to get thrown out, but still, big variable getting somebody locked up, right?
It is, and it's an uphill battle to convict someone. It's not an easy feat. And you have to get a jury to believe in you and believe in the case, which is not always the easiest thing to do either.
I'm sure, especially if there's all kinds of images that contradict the facts, right? Images play big today with people. All right, I'm going to zoom. Go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say you're right. It's not even just what's going on in court. It's what people's beliefs are outside of court, whether it be beliefs about what police officers do and, even prosecutors. There's views that are not positive, so that can impact what a jury thinks.
However, it is pretty great when you do see it go all the way to conviction. They march out, and you must look at the people who have been testifying and waiting. That must be a special feeling, because I don't think they do that much on the TV show. What's that like when justice finally arrives?
I think you always have mixed feelings. You feel great, especially in homicide cases. I think the difficulty is that you're not bringing the person back. And I have to say that in many cases, not all, because in some cases you just are happy to see the defendant go away, but in some cases there's sympathy for the defendant too, because there's more than one life that's been destroyed. And it's sad to see where that individual came from and why they ended up where they were. So it's kind of it always is a mixed bag of feelings whenever you get a conviction.
I so look forward to our main subject, so I just wanted to chat a bit. I wanted to chat a bit, get to know you a little bit, and now I have a confession to make. May I?
God.
I'm going to confess to you on national radio.
You killed someone.
Well, a few. Nobody important. Nobody that went. I haven't heard peep out of anybody I took care of. No. This bicycle topic with Alec Baldwin. I have ridden the wrong way down avenues. I mean, I can't tell you. I must be like the Billy the Kid of this whole thing he did. What's the essence of this case? Yes, the essence of this case, I'm thinking, is his attitude made a case. Riding the bicycle, wrong direction. If you say, yes, officer, the worst, it's a ticket. And if you're really nice, a lot of times you say, all right, if you just immediately go, yeah, I'm sorry. No remorse. Why is this a case? Why is it on page 6? Why is he going to face a judge? And then when the judge says, Alec, you were not a very good boy, but I'm a fan. What in God's name is happening to the public tax dollar in the middle of all this case? Your take on it.
Look, I think that I'm trying to be as objective as possible. Obviously, this case only exists on page 6 because it's Alec Baldwin. People get summonses all the time for driving the wrong way, and I have my own bias about city bikes just because I think they don't follow the rules, and so people get hurt very easily with them ignoring the rules. I guess you would know, but it is a case. He's not allowed to do it. He didn't have identification. He did talk back. He has no respect. When a police officer pulls you over, they ask you for ID. You just give them ID. There's no reason for there to be a whole, outburst and fight. And because of that, it ends up in court. And it's not surprising how it ended up, which is an ECD, which is an adjournment and contemplation of dismissal. But sometimes I think he just wants to draw attention to himself.
The judge did, maybe.
No, I think Alec Baldwin likes.
Oh, okay, I got you. He likes to be in a fracas where he knows the worst that can happen is what happened to him. By the way, what laws did he violate? If you mouth off, it's one thing to say, gee, officer, I don't think I did it. That's one thing politely. But if you go, hey, what, do you got nothing to do? Huh? Jeffrey Dahmer's running around, you coming? These guys, there's always a bank robbery, right there. What law are you breaking when you start verbally?
It's disorderly conduct, which is a violation, not a crime. But nevertheless, a police officer is doing their job, and they have to do their job, and they have to be able to do their job. We see all these cases of police officers doing the wrong thing.
Right.
And in cases like this, their job is to give the summons and to get identification of that person. And there's no reason in the world for you to react to an officer trying to do their job, especially when you are riding the wrong way down the street.
That's it. And once you're doing it, it's the golden rule of getting caught. Immediately you're sorry.
Right.
We have laws all over the country now about the bicycle. And I realized the bicycle is extremely popular compared to even 20 years ago. But,
Sure.
I got pulled over one night. The guy says, "You don't have a light." I said, "I'm only going a mile." He goes, "No light. You can't go." And I said, "All right, officer." I mean, I did my thing. I had no ID on me. Now, in America, are we supposed to always be identifiable? In other words, if they ask ID and we don't have it, are we in trouble for not having it?
No. I don't get the impression that the problem occurred because Alec Baldwin didn't have ID. And again, I wasn't there, so I don't know anything that happened. All I know is that based on everything we know about him,
right.
I'm confident that the moment the police officers pulled him over, there was a scene made, and it started with him.
I'm sure.
And
he said, he used the classic line, didn't he? He used that line, "Don't you know who I am?" And that's just, why don't you just ask the police to take you in, man? Now you're asking to go
why don't you ask them to cuff you right then, and then you say that.
Oh, man.
I'm always embarrassed when I hear that one.
It's terrible. Now, whatever happens, I'm sure you've never broken the law. You've never missed a red light.
Oh, gosh, never.
Never. But if it were to happen, would there be, don't worry about it, Julie, I see you. Prosecutor, former prosecutor. Is it like that? Or is it like, "Oh, here's my ID," and they look, "Oh, shame on you. Shouldn't you know better?" What happens when you get an infraction, if you were to get one?
I mean, I haven't gotten an infraction.
Ever?
So far.
Ever?
I never have. I'm going to assume that if I was doing what anyone else was doing, look, I was never the type of person that pulled out a badge to say who I was, because I just didn't really want to go down that road, and felt like it. And honestly, I wanted to see how a police officer would treat me without knowing that I was a DA.
Right on.
I often wasn't treated very nicely.
You know what it is? It's like playing poker with two hold cards. It's your hold card down there. At the very end, anything goes really crazy. It's like, whoa, easy.
Yeah, but you can get yourself in trouble if you pull the badge and you've done something wrong. That's just not. It's never worth it.
It's not, right? Because you really are. You're starting your own problem at that point, aren't you, Julie?
I agree.
Julie, do you, now that you're no longer a prosecutor, do you represent the other side? If I was a bad guy, I'd be calling you up going, "Now, what do I do if I'm bad? Do I say, 'Julie, I've been bad?' Or do I say, 'Julie, they accuse me of being bad. I would like to speak with you.'" And then do you say to me...
Yeah, I'm handling those who do bad. Hopefully those who don't do too bad. I don't know if I have it in me to handle too bad these days. But.
Could you can refuse and say, "This guy is too much of a whack job, Your Honor. I cannot represent this crazy person." Can you do that?
You can do that. I haven't had that come up yet.
All right. Well,
you have every right not to take a client.
If you do have that, you can feel free to call me, and we could chat it over anytime.
Yeah, I'm sure the defendant would love me talking about him.
Say, "Hold on, sir. I'm considering taking you, but I'm going to do a quick interview with Ed Tyll, nationally and internationally, and I'll be right back." Oh, you're fun. You are fun.
To see if your test is your test.
Julie, one thing I will say, no one's going to believe you're a prosecutor because you're so nice. You laugh, you smile, you giggle, and yet you talk about serious subjects. When you saw OJ go free, what kind of day did you have? Where were you? Do you remember where you were? Where were you? In the bar?
Yeah, sure. I was at work. And
what happened? They came in the room?
What was this?
Did they come in the room and tell you, or did you have it on?
No, we had it on TV.
What'd you do?
In our old building.
And what'd you do when they said not guilty? What did you do?
I probably knew before that he was going to be found not guilty, so I wasn't shocked.
You discounted it and said, "Yeah, all right, big deal. I knew he'd be guilty. Give me that motion. What judge are we seeing today? I'm suppressing this. I'm introducing this, and I'm suppressing some." Is that the way it is on your desk? It's suppressions and submissions and Is it crazy when you're a prosecutor? They give you a crazy load, or do you get to pick your load because you're the bureau chief? You can kind of pace it.
No, I think as you get older, you are maybe a little bit more likely to be able to select what you'd like to do, but, we were all open to whatever cases were given to us.
Right on. Well, I'll tell you, you seem like a cheerful person. You know, I was thinking of Hamilton Berger. He was my first prosecutor against Perry Mason. He used to always come in and go, Mason, you can't introduce that witness. A courtroom is a circus. And every time it would work. So I always think when you talk to a real prosecutor, you should be ready for somebody like Hamilton Berger coming after you. If I was guilty of a crime, I would hope you would be the prosecutor. You seem like a very nice person to be prosecuted by.
Yeah, I don't know if defendants feel that way. I don't think they think I'm so pleasant, but
that's their
I'm
problem.
glad you said that.
Well, they have problems, these other people. I don't know what their problem is.
Exactly.
As far as you and I are concerned, I think we're getting along famously. This is terrific.
Exactly. Why wouldn't you want me to prosecute you?
And you know what? I'm going to tell my friends, if they get in trouble, to ask, oh, you can't come back. Oh, wait a second. You got the keys to the Hobbit. You know how it all works now. What an advantage it is for you, because you've done so many cases, to be on the other side now. You really know the system like the back of your hand. You know the people. You know the thing.
You really do. That's true.
Wow. Oh, you're so much fun.
Yeah,
Well, thank you for visiting. What's the best way for people to follow up with you? If they want to ask you a question and they want to contact you, is there a website, an email, what a Facebook page? What do you have?
You can go to juliebspring@gmail.com. That's my married name.
Oh, okay. So it's Julie. So damn. I was just going to get arrested to meet you. Oh, okay. All right. I was thinking of crimes that I wouldn't mind committing and see if I could ask for you. All right. Well, so it's juliebspring.com, is it?
At gmail.com.
Oh, at gmail.com. Julie, Julie, B as in boy, Spring, the way it sounds, at gmail.com if they want to ask a question.
Yep.
Well, how nice to visit. And are you sitting on any big cases? Anybody on hold? You got any of the Gotti family, nephews, or anybody?
No. Nothing discussable at this point. Maybe one day, but not today.
Hey, what's that town? Howard Beach. Is Howard Beach still crazy out in that's not Brooklyn, that's Queens. That's not your area. What's the roughest area of Brooklyn? Where's the roughest area of Brooklyn? Is it like Bedford-Stuyvesant? Is that still the hot spot?
For where? For what? I'm sorry.
For going to the prosecutor, for involuntarily being brought in for prosecution. You know, the hottest crimes, the hottest crime area.
All those areas have changed a lot, and crime has gone down significantly over the years. Even people are moving to Bed-Stuy left and right. So there's no real particular area. Some are a little more violent than others, but it's certainly changed than how it did 10, 20 years ago.
I should ask you on the way out, are they making any progress with all those bodies out on Long Island? Do you remember this about 6 months ago? They had a string of these bodies showing up, and they were starting to think they were all connected. And I don't know if there's been any news on that I haven't seen a word on it. Are you familiar with the case?
I have not seen anything on that.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen anything on it.
Well, Julie, you're the eyes and ears now of the Ed Tyll Show in the criminal justice system.
Oh, great.
I know that's a lot of pressure for you, and you can tell by the serious depth of these questions that it's going to be a brain cruncher all the way. We're going to ask you, where do you get a good pastrami near the courthouse? That's the first question you're going to get.
I mean,
where do you get a pastrami?
Some would say Katz's Deli, but that's not necessarily my favorite.
No. Do you have a little haunt near the courthouse where you go in, they go, hey, Julie, what's up? Lock 'em up, girl. And then you grab your coffee and then you go trot.
No, nothing like that.
Nothing like that?
No, nothing like that at all.
Well, if you'd ever like a dramatization of your life, the way somebody who doesn't know you thinks it is, again, I'm right here, available anytime.
Yes, I shall look to you for that.
Go see you. Now I feel pressure. See a little, both of us. All right, Julie, it's a pleasure. Join us again, if you don't mind. When we get one of these, can I ask you fast? Should they have brought that crazy Al Qaeda guy for trial?
Should they what?
The crazy Al Qaeda guy that they caught it. The guy from Libya that helped the bombing and all that. Should they have brought him in as a criminal defendant? Or because they said, how you can do a crime scene investigation in a foreign country, et cetera, et cetera. Or should there just be terrorists, they go to terrorist jail, terrorist court. What's your thought in jurisprudence? What should you do with the worst of the worst guys when you pick them up in an international conspiracy to injure and attack the United States?
I think as a terrorist, the sentencing is higher, and I think it just sets more of a precedent.
No, it's not a crime. Like when you and I talk about a crime in New York City, I was born in New York, crime is what a crime is. We all know what crimes are. When you start internationally terrorizing, it just doesn't seem like it fits the definition of a crime. There may be crimes included in terrorism, lesser included.
Right.
All right. Well, thanks for verifying you've been, every question. I haven't stumped you yet.
Yeah, you have. I just made stuff up.
Okay, well, see, perfect job. Julie Rendelman, and you can reach her at juliebspring@gmail.com, former bureau chief of the prosecutor's office in Kings County. That's Brooklyn to everybody. Julie, a pleasure. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Oh, man, we'll definitely have her visit with us again. Great job. All right, I feel, I feel quite vindicated from the interview, don't you? You're listening to me speaking with that former prosecutor and go, wow, I think Ed Tyll's come clean all the way. By the way, you can look forward to, I think, many more terrific visits with Julie. She was fun. All right, do we have to go back to the craziness, man? I mean, it's just, let me guess. Before I even go back to the news, let me tell you what's on the news without even looking. The bombs are going off in the Gaza Strip. Am I right? The planes are one is still missing and 3 are down, and so it goes. John Boehner is suing Barack Obama, and I prefer they just play poker for the national debt. Wouldn't that be better? I want to thank our good friend Mark Goldman for hooking us up with Julie Rendelman, former bureau chief of the prosecutor's office in Brooklyn. Alec Baldwin, he finds a way, doesn't he, to just make it get annoyed at him.